Tonight's episode of the 31st Lap Podcast is brought to you by DirtTrackDigest.com. If it's on dirt, it's on Dirt Track Digest.
This is the 31st Lap Podcast, recorded live in the studios of FingerLakes1.com in downtown Seneca Falls, New York. And now, your hosts, Chris Marquardt.
Get into some of the information that's happening up there at the fairgrounds as well. Appreciate all of you folks tuning in for episode number 251. Jeremie Corcoran is going to be joining us here in just a minute or two to talk a little bit about all the stuff that's going on up there with Motorsports Expo 2019 as well. Jeremie, alluding to the fact a moment ago here as we were getting ready to start the show that the event is sold out, and even with the ebb and flow of cancellations, there's enough people that were knocking on the door at the last minute to try and jump in and be part of Motorsports 2019 in connection to Syracuse Motorsports Expo 2019. Just want to take a moment and extend our condolences out to Joey Patrick and his family losing the beloved Kathy Patrick. Here leading up to this show, the Patrick family was at the helm of this show for a long, long time, and Kathy Patrick, I had the opportunity to meet her a number of times. It was just one of the most kindest souls that I've ever had the chance to meet, and unfortunately, after she was sick for a little while, we did lose her, but it's a big loss for the family, and certainly we're thinking of the Patricks, regardless of what's happening in motorsports, because they're part of the family. More than anything else, you know. But again, hits a little bit more tender chord coming up to Motorsports Expo the way that it is. So again, thoughts out to Joey Patrick and his family, everybody tied to Gator Racing News. Make sure I open the right line since it's been a challenge with this new setup. We've got Jeremie Corcoran now on the line. Jeremie, man, how are you?
Good, yeah, and I just want to touch base with you on what you said about the Patrick family and all that. You know, they're like family to me, and I've worked for them setting the floor up for 20 years, and me and Joe, and we had a deal to buy this show, and the time was right, and last year was the time to buy it from them, and I did, and, you know, unfortunately, you know, Kathy was sick then, and, you know, it was time for them to pass it on to somebody that would try to make it bigger and better and keep it going, and, you know, hopefully that was me, and I don't plan on going anywhere for a year to come. And yeah, it's tough for them right now because they built, you know, Gator and then the Motorsports Expo and all that stuff. So it's difficult for Joey and stuff. But I've been in contact with him this week, and you know, heads are high, and she's in a good place now with, unfortunately, my parents. Mm-hmm. So yeah, but no, other than that, Motorsports Expo is good. It's full. You know, like we had some last-minute cancellations due to guys, you know, lettering and sponsors and all that stuff. You know, guys sending in forms a while ago to register because they want to get in, and then unfortunately don't get their cars done or something like that. But we had some other people step up to the plates and stuff like that. So it's good. It's going to be a good weekend. You know, I can't do it without Ferris, FX Caprera, and VP Race Fuels, and everybody, my family and friends, and my stepson, and everything's good.
Now, you said that some of these cars that were going to be on display couldn't make it because maybe it was an issue with a lettering guy or something like that. Being a body guy, there's no cars that were supposed to be there that didn't get bodies done, right?
No. Actually, well, yes and no. There's one guy that called me last week and says, hey, my other body guy can't get a body done. I heard you're doing bodies again. Yeah. And he goes, well, can I get it done for your show? I go, no. I'm the type of person, when a guy calls me and puts stuff in line, I put stuff in line and get it done, and, you know, I do the best I can. I was doing bodies, you know, years ago, and I kind of got out of it. Now I'm back into it with my son racing. Mm-hmm. So, you know, I'm trying to do the show and get race cars done and actually get his car done. And so there's only so much time in a day, and I used to work, you know, 16, 18 hours a day, and I don't do that anymore. You know, family means everything since I lost my mom and dad, and, you know, that opens your eyes to a lot of things, and so I spend time with them, and I'm home at night, and guys' race car can wait. If they can't make the show, it's unfortunately they know when the show is. They know when racing season is. I used to do bodies. You got guys that race. Hey, I need a body. I got to go racing next week. And I go, well, you've had all winter.
Right.
Oh, I know. I've been doing this and doing that. I go, well, now it's my fault. I can't get it done. But but no, it's everything's good. It's like you said. It was funny that you bring that up about the body and stuff like that. But no, there's nothing there that's didn't get a body on it because of me. I think there's maybe 3-4 guys in there that I did bodies on. My son's car and Tom Juno and Ronnie Davis's cars. I'm doing his bodies and stuff like that. I can't think of anybody else at the time, but yeah, it'll be a good show. With the asphalt tracks, Estes Strip, they got a big booth that they're putting in. Estes, it's all about racing in Central New York. It's not about dirt cars or whatever. Just right. It's anything. Just like I do with the trade show in the fall. That was more dirt stuff. Now I'm trying to bring that drag strip stuff into that, and everything needs to be in. Everybody sells parts to any kind of car. Not to get sidetracked, but with Estes there, I do an event with them on Thursday Night Thunder during the Syracuse Nationals, the burnout competition. Something I thought of last year, and that was huge in itself. Right. We're actually going to do that again and become good friends with them, and all the local tracks, Brewerton, Fulton, Utica, Afton, 5 Mile Point, Fonda. If I forget anybody, I don't mean to, but I don't have the list right in front of me. But asphalt tracks are good too, and Evansville's and Can-Am and Atlanta Legends, Wheatsport, Jimmy Phelps. They got a huge display. Dirt cars got to change the show up a little bit, move some vendors around and stuff like that. They got the whole corner down there with dirt car and stuff, so cool. Kind of a new look to the show. Right.
I mean, the show at this point is so many questions I got for you right off the top with all the stuff that you hit on. Weedsport's got a gigantic display. They're going to be running tours through their production truck in addition to going live on Saturday with one of their live shows, and that in itself necessitates a change. But the show, having run now for 33 years, and in a more digital age that we're in from when this started, the static displays don't work. Just walking by and seeing a car or seeing a track or an entity doesn't work. The show sells itself at this point. Everybody knows that they have to be part of this. It essentially sells itself. It doesn't strike me that you're calling so many people as maybe the Patricks were when it was year 2 trying to fill all the venue up. But at the same time, how much more challenge are you encountering in terms of putting the show together, given the diversity of the displays? I mean, when we were there in November, there was cars, multiple different places had cars on pedestals rotating up near the rafters. It's not the same static displays as what you're used to.
Oh, right, yeah, you got to do that stuff. Hey, last year at this time we had Snap-on Tools. They're a sponsor of the show. We're doing a tire changing contest, but different things. We come in one last year, and if you were there, the sprint car was up on toolboxes. We did not have that in mind until the car was sitting in the booth that had the toolboxes around and stuff. And I said, I don't like that. It looks out of place. I said, why don't we take that car and put it up on the toolboxes? The guy from Snap-on looked at me like I had 4 eyes. But I said, well, what are you going to do? I said, I'm going to go rent a forklift. Well, we rent a forklift, and we put it up on the toolboxes. That was cool.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's different. And, that's what you have to do. And times have changed quite a bit in racing and trying to get participants and stuff. Guys, don't want to spend a weekend out here. And don't get me wrong, I'm not knocking anybody. I know everybody's got family lives and businesses and all that stuff. And, they don't want to spend the whole weekend out. But you have your dedicated racers. If we didn't have, this show's mine. If we didn't have this show, this kicks off race season. You know what I mean? If we don't have this stuff, there's so many other things that kids can do now. I have two kids, and they're on Xbox, they're on their phones, they're on this. Racing's going to be in trouble if we don't do something to get these kids involved with racing more. I mean, because look who's left in racing right now. Danny and Alan, they still race. Yeah, you got Matt Shepard, Matt Williamson, and a few other guys, but it's not like it was back in the day when you had no problem filling your hand with top drivers, and you needed your hands and 2 feet to count the drivers. Now you can do it on a set of hands that follow the tour and do all this stuff. Money's tight with everybody, and times have changed, so we just need to get a grasp on that and promote different things and try to do it. And I struggle with it because it's like, everything nowadays is, I wanted to get Street Outlaws. I like that show. I wanted to get one of those guys to come to this show. It's $50,000.
Wow.
So you have to sell a lot of tickets to have somebody come and sell autographs for $50,000. I would do it if I could break even. I would do it just to have that difference in a show. Look what I've done with the trade show in 2 years. I'm trying to make that bigger and better. And
true.
I'm working on going to the new building with that to make it bigger and better and different. So and I'd like to do this show here, but it's just sometimes it's a struggle. I don't know if I got sidetracked on your question or not, but times are changing, and you try to change with the times, but also keep it where it was.
Yeah, obviously you're going to have to. There's a commonality that has to be there from year one to where we are right now. The focus of this show in November or in February. Wow, I checked the calendar. The focus of this show that's coming up here this weekend in March is the season kickoff. This is tracks giving out schedules. This is guys and gals showing off their paint schemes. People showcasing their rides and tracks series distributing information about where their tour stops are going to be. The fall show has always been geared towards getting parts in people's hands so that they can build over the course of the winter and basically be ready when racing season starts. Where we are in March right now, we're 6 weeks away from the first race at Fulton.
Right.
So we're knocking on the door. This is it's been billed oftentimes the unofficial kickoff of the racing season, and I think that still fits. In terms of the good drivers and things like that, you look at the finish order from 1997, and a lot of those names are awful similar to what we're seeing right now. In terms of the Super Dirt Car Series, personalities have grown and talents have come along, but some of them haven't elected to travel. But also, to the point of what you were saying, how things have changed so much. It used to be that every shop had a race car, and those days have long since gone. And we've seen the rise of the super teams, especially with the Super Dirt Car Series and things of that nature here. But if you look down the list just a little ways and get out of the modifieds and look at what's happening in the sportsman ranks and how deep that field is and how many cars there are and what, not to keep bringing it back to Fulton, but Fulton in August last year was running 3 features of sportsman cars. So while it doesn't look the same, and you still have to keep that harken back to the old times, the racing ledger is sort of doing the same thing when you think about it. The cars look a lot like they used to in terms of dirt modifies. The body hasn't changed a whole lot since 1985, but by the same token, the bulk of the schedule is occupied by those sportsman guys and the niche that they're carving out for themselves. And we're seeing some of those guys move up too. Ronnie Davis is one of those guys that moved up to the 358s when Fulton, Brewerton, Utica, and I think Can-Am all went to that small block program.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you said it. I mean, there's 50 cars at Fulton. That's what you got to keep them kids interested in racing. You know what I mean? And to make this sport grow, the $50,000 big blocks, you can't do that anymore. Guys making $60,000 a year, and he's got to buy a $50,000 go racing, and he can't do that. And that's what it is. Like I said, there's a ton of sportsmen out there, and that's good. That's what the sport needs.
Are you making bodies just for open wheel cars, or are you making pro stock bodies too?
No, just basically open wheel stuff. I used to do all that stuff, but now it's just I own a CNC machine that cuts everything out by CNC. Mm-hmm. I've had that for years, so that's kind of why I've got it all templated on that, and just try to stick to that. Just with other stuff going on with the kid racing and all that stuff, I try to just keep doing that stuff. That's easy to do. I can do a car in a day, so it's pretty easy to do.
Is he running Sportsman again this year?
That is undetermined.
Yeah.
No, we're going to start out Sportsman. I've actually we'll put a new car together, and I actually my big block that I've had sitting in my shop floor for years. Actually, the last time it ran was when Ryan Susi won the non-winning you're in at Syracuse, and unfortunately we wrecked it the next day. But that got pulled out and put under the shelf, and it's been there. And 2 weeks ago, I said, I want to put the big block in this car and just start it. Right. I haven't even started yet, but it's going to the show with the big block in it, so I think we're going to do some hot laps of that. And, either he's going to race it or I may even try it. I don't think I'm going to try it, but I may.
Right.
If not, I may put somebody in it and then go from there. He did excellent his first year. He won a Brewerton.
Mm-hmm.
It's my son and all, but the kid's doing good, and we'll see where he goes from with racing. One minute he wants to race, and next minute he don't. Typical kid. He doesn't want to work on it. That's going to change. That he's got to work on it because I'm tired of working on it. I've been racing my whole life pretty much since I was 14 years old when my neighbor raced and owned racetracks and promoted racetracks and owned race cars and drove race cars. So now it's his turn.
The big block motor itself, is that one of them that's left over from the JAR cars?
No, that was my own. That's something I bought back in the day when I left Jeff, and then I raced at Dirt Week. A couple of years before they got rid of it, but I drove it, and I just got Ryan Susi in the car for that race, and that was it. No, that was my own.
So it's not like you're one of those $60,000 a year guy that had to buy a $50,000 new big block. This was one that was in the mothballs for a while.
No. This cost me $12,000, and I bought a whole motor, car, and everything. $12,000, big block in it. So that motor doesn't owe me nothing. They could turn 2 laps and blow up, and oh well.
Right.
Not saying oh well about $12,000, but the car actually Tyler races is the car that I bought back in the day.
Sure.
With that deal. So it's still a good car.
That's cool. I made some assumptions earlier, but I just want to make sure that I wasn't too far off in that assumption. Is it fair to say that this show, Motorsports Expo, sells itself? It's such a go-to, it's such a staple. I mean, is it hard to fill it at this point?
No, no, it sells itself because the Patrick family did so well with it for 31 years. I took it over 32. That it does sell itself. Everybody knows this is, like you said, the kickoff of racing, and it's time to go to the show and brush the car off with this stupid snow that keeps coming. And it's just you don't think you're going to go to racing here when it's snowing out, but it gets people out of the house and something to look for. But yeah, no, it is definitely the kickoff of racing, and like I said, it sells itself. And the show was packed last year, and after the show, Jimmy Phelps come up to me Sunday night, and he says, we can, most vendors know with shows and all that, how the crowd was. And they go, we ran out of stuff, the free stuff that they handed out. I don't know what they did or what they handed out or whatever. They had to go to Weedsport and get refill stuff because they gave so much stuff out.
Wow.
So that just tells you what the fan base was there, So we'll see. You got this race going on next door. I don't know if that's going to hurt the show, help the show, or we'll see where it all transpires Sunday afternoon, you know what I mean? Because the people in this area just don't have a lot of money to do both, whether they go to that show. I don't know I don't even know what the admission is there, and I haven't even looked at anything, but on that, it's $20, $25. Can they afford to go to my show and go to that show, or are they just going to go see racing for that weekend? You know what I mean? And I get what the fair is trying to do is bring a whole racing oriented thing to the fairgrounds, but it's tough when you got a couple different promoters trying to make money at it and pay the bills. It's it's not cheap to rent the fairgrounds, these buildings, you know what I mean? So it's not like we go in and make thousands of dollars and snap our fingers and it's done. Right. So I've been preparing for this show since last year, honestly, with the vendors, and we got helmet vendors, fire suit vendors, and Barrett's is there, our JC Race Parts, and oil companies, and hey, we got Ashley Wynn Winery there that's getting slushy and stuff like that, Cheeseville Company, and you guys are there having your races out back with stuff like that. So that all helps. That all brings, the quarter midget out room is jam packed. He's got, I think, 53 of them things in there.
Jeepers.
I think he's yeah. So that's cool in itself,
Well, I want to touch quickly on the race that's being held. We'll get into more details on this in a little bit. First and foremost, online if you want more details, SyracuseMotorsportsExpo.com. You can find all the information. You can even find entry forms, booth rentals if you're looking for next year if you're trying to plan ahead. March the 8th, tomorrow, setup for everybody. We're going to be up there ourselves doing the setup Friday night for the RC Oval Track out back. Saturday, the show runs. This is the 9th of March from 10 until 8 p.m., and then Sunday it runs from 11 to 4. Vendors are asked to not break any of their displays down until 4 o'clock so that we can get everybody moved out and give everybody a reason to stay to the end. Admission, pretty reasonable to me. $13 for adults, $5 for kids age 6 to 12. Kids under 5 get in for free. 2-day passes, it's $20. You can't really argue that. Now, for your concern, Jeremy, I appreciate where you're coming from, but speaking only from the experience and the guys that are coming to run RC cars, there are people that are planning on coming up there early to get in and do the race, and they are asking us to make sure that we are done with the race Saturday so that they can get over to the oval race. They are planning on doing both. There's a number of people that were planning on coming up Friday, doing the race, running their RC cars out back, checking out the show during the course of the day, and then going to the indoor race after that as well. So I think that you're going to be okay because those guys, especially the touring groups that are coming up, that are with the cars or that are fans or stuff, otherwise they'd be sitting in the hotel. They got nothing to do. If they got to throw an extra $13 at it to go walk around and look at other cars or potentially even find parts if they had a major malfunction on Friday night, I think they're going to take advantage of it, at least a little bit of a cross section that we've heard from so far.
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully that's true. Yeah, that's good.
I think I like the idea of it, like you said, but they've got to make sure they do it right. Otherwise, everybody's going to be struggling for the same niche of people, and everybody's going to be in trouble. But we'll let the cards fall as they may. I'm looking forward to getting back up there. Big Nell's always got an awesome display. We made some new contacts last year when we were there in February, and then we were back there again in November. So that was always cool. And you see the stuff that's off the beaten path there as well. In years past, we've seen vintage modifieds, we've seen swampers, we've seen monster trucks there before. The old school open wheel cars that are periodically on display. There really is something for everybody, and again, that's one of those ways that it ties back to the beginnings and the roots of this show. While you've got cars spinning on platforms 25 feet above the ground and sprint cars sitting on top of toolboxes, you've also still got that vintage stuff that's just there with a couple flyers on the front tire and somebody be back Sunday afternoon to put it back in a trailer.
Right.
Have you talked and forgive me if I missed it on the page, is the Hall of Fame going to have anything over there this year?
Yeah, they're going to have Hall of Fame. I'm not sure what they're bringing. They didn't fill me in with anything. Mm-hmm. So I don't know what they're bringing, but I know they're doing a couple autograph sessions with some people and stuff like that. So
they've been moving the Kenny Tremont, the restored Kenny Tremont car around quite a bit, and that certainly moves around easier. I was talking to Jim Olin, and he said that moves around a whole lot easier than the Champagne car does that they were moving around here a couple years ago. Right. So I'm wondering if perhaps you'll be privy to seeing the Tremont 115 over there.
Yeah, I'm hoping.
Wouldn't be? You had a chance to race against Kenny Tremont a couple times, right?
Oh yeah, yep. Yes, I did back in the day. He actually beat me on the last spot at Rolling Wheels in the 200 back in the day.
Yeah,
that happened.
What else have you got planned for 2019?
Not really much. Just that Thursday Night Thunder that I mentioned on July 18th during the Syracuse Nationals, and then of course back at it for the Northeast Trade Show and auction in November. That's it. No deep plans for tracks. Just going to keep working on bodies and keep working on Tyler's car. No, nothing with racetracks. I'm not. I kind of stepped away from that. So I was trying to do something with Rolling Wheels, release that for a few races, but that fell apart.
Right.
And that's it. And other than that, go race with my kid and enjoy the family.
Is your life happier without a racetrack in it?
125%.
I thought maybe that was going to be the answer.
Yep, absolutely. People say you miss it, and I said nope, not one bit. Do I miss preparing the racetrack? Yes. The rest of it, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Nope. and everybody says, why are you doing rolling wheels? And when I was doing rolling wheels that happened this year, honestly, there'd been one race there, one series race.
Right.
But the rest of it would have been a tractor pull, a monster truck pull, something out of the ordinary stuff.
Sure.
I forgot. Stadium cross. That's my stadium cross, and partner with Robbie O'Connor there at Syracuse Nationals. We had that in 2 weeks, the 22nd, 23rd, and 24th at the Fairgrounds in the Coliseum.
Right.
Almost forgot about that. So that's cool in itself. We've done that 2 years now, and that's getting bigger and bigger. But we got over 500 riders, entries that come to that, fans, and usually packed house, and that's a good thing, a good fun thing to do. Something like that's different things from racing.
Sure. Well, I mean, you certainly got a gamut to run for 2019 with a bunch of different things outside of the common expectations of what you might see in the dirt track circles. So I'm glad everything's continuing to go well. Again, online, SyracuseMotorsportsExpo.com. Friday the 8th is move-in. Saturday the 9th, Motorsports Expo runs from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Sunday from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. Again, the price is $13 for adults. It's only $5 for kids age 6 to 12. Kids under 5 are free. And there's a 2-day pass available this year for only $20. Is there anything that we missed, Jeremy? I mean, we've talked about your bodies. We've talked about Tyler's car. So. No. Well, I will see you tomorrow, probably between 6:30, something like that. We'll get the little pieces of the timing system put into place for the oval out back, and then we'll enjoy a good weekend of activity over there at Motorsports Expo 19 in Syracuse.
Perfect.
Jeremy, thanks a ton, man. I'll talk to you soon.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
See you later.
Take care.
There goes Jeremie Corcoran. A couple thoughts from him. Again, online if you want more details. There's an entire schedule and everything lined up on there, Syracuse Motorsports Expo.com. And then quickly, just to remind everybody of the racing that's happening as well. This is going to be at that new Exposition Center. The Syracuse Indoor Race is the title of it. It's overseen by Lenny Salmon's Productions. IndoorAutoRacing.com is the website. Friday, the racing card starts at 6 o'clock. That's when doors open. Reserve seating is $29. There's mid-rows for $26, $20, and then kids are only $8 to get in. Ticket in prices increase $5 the day of event. So if you're going to order tickets, jump online now. It goes up $5 tomorrow. Racing is at 7:30, and again, the TQs, the Champ Karts, and the Slingshots going to be in action on Friday and Saturday both. Saturday's racing card, the doors open at 5:30. Racing's at 7. Same ticket pricing online there. If you want more details, IndoorAutoRacing.com is the place to go. Going to be cool. Eric Rudolph is going to be in action. Looks like the Catalanos are going to be in action. I think I saw a post that Lou Ciccone is going to be in action as well. So got a lot of folks that are going to be trying their luck in the first ever Syracuse indoor race at the Exposition Center. And it's going to be happening right there side by side with Motorsports Expo 2019. So I think we've covered pretty much everything that we were trying to get to this evening. One quick item to note, Lancaster Speedway is still for sale. No updates on that in terms of the drag racing side of things. And still the post exists on Spencer Speedway's page that asphalt track is for sale as well. I'm looking forward to catching up with some of the folks from ESTA, as Jeremy alluded to. That drag racing organization, we'd like to have them on Final Round. We're going to have a show on Final Round, probably next Thursday. But the week after that, we are going to be out of town. So the 31st lap will be delayed the week of the 22nd because we will be in Topeka, Kansas, working on Capital City Carnage with the Crash Course Demolition Derby podcast and all of the folks over there at DerbyNation.tv. Taking a look at the clock, I think we've covered, again, everything that we wanted to get to. We appreciate all the folks that tune in each and every time the 31st lap goes live here on Finger Lakes 1 at the North Park Building at Academy Square. That's going to do it for us. We will see you again in a couple weeks with another update from 31st lap. Oh, hang on a second. Dirt Track Digest is going to be live with a pre-race and post-race show from the Short Track Super Series event in Delaware on March the 16th. We're going to be collaborating with them on that, so looking forward to that. Mike Mallett and I will be on the microphones for a pre-race and post-race show, so we are looking forward to that coming to you from Delaware, the Short Track Super Series kickoff out there. So keep your eyes peeled for that. That will be appearing on Facebook Live. So now we're done, and we still appreciate everybody that tunes in to watch. That's going to do it for us here at the North Park Building in Academy Square. I'm Chris Marquardt. We'll see you all again next time.